My record is 13 layers. 13 layers on one chair. And this is going to act like fiberglass. To start cutting your fabric for your dining room tops, the first thing you need to do is grab the biggest dining room tops. The armchairs are usually wider than your armless chair. So grab the widest one. You want to measure from about an inch or two over the side to an inch or two over the other side. So in this case, we got 23 side to side by 20 front to back. This fabric has a fairly large pattern on it, so big that my customer had to get 2 pieces of fabric to do the job. Ideally, you want to put the same part of the pattern in the center of every seat. So I had my customer put this pin in the part that she liked the most, and we're going to proceed from there. Since our piece is 23 inches wide, I'm going to put the 11.5 on there, measure out, and that hits right there. And then we're going to measure 11.5 out the other side for the 23 here. Now the thing is here, this right here is the center of our roll of fabric, right there in the middle of that pattern. So instead of cutting here and then cutting over here and throwing away this tiny little strip of fabric, we're just going to cut this right up the center of the goods. Just like that. This side will be one top, this side will be the other, centered on that sort of marquee looking figure. Over here we'll do the same thing. We can move right up this part of the pattern. Yeah, like that. We need 20 up and down, so we'll put the 10 in the center. We can move up. 0, mark down at the 20. You can see we move from the tip of this figure to the tip of the same figure up there, so we can use the tips as a guide to mark our fabric. I prefer to do it this way when I'm working with printed fabrics rather than to go with measurements, like measuring from the side of the fabric in or up or down. Because if the machine that was printing this fabric twisted the fabric on the way through the machine, then the pattern won't line up perfectly. The pattern can actually do something like this. If you follow the pattern, then when you upholster the piece, everything will end up nice and straight. If, on the other hand, you try to do it by here, go. If you try to do it by cutting a perfectly rectangular piece that is measured from the edge of the fabric, then when you get over there, you have to force everything to line up properly. And you can end up with a pattern that looks wrong, it looks skewed. And it can actually look lumpy because you're trying to force the fabric to twist and untwist. And doing that puts pressure points on what on the piece that you're doing. But if you cut from the here to here to here, here to here to here, it looks nice and straight. Everything is cut perfectly straight, and when you put it on the job, it's very easy to make it look great. Now we just do this 4 more times in the other roll of fabric. And for that, I'm going to hand the job off to my able assistant. Now that we got our fabric cut, the next thing I want to do is fix up the fillings that are on these. These are made with a layer of rubberized horsehair and raw cotton on them. So to restore the fillings, I'm going to use more raw cotton. This is unbleached, just plain old cotton. Just come in, tear off a piece across, put it over our seat, stretch it a little like, almost like pizza dough. And this is more than I need. It's too much. So we'll just come over here, grab it, like so, and we can tear the layers like that. It splits beautifully. And that's exactly how much we want. So now you just take it, hand on here, and tear away the extra. It's better to tear it than to cut it like a pair of scissors, because when you tear it, you get this soft edge. You go like that, and it feathers off without leaving a lump behind. It makes it blend into the old filling very nicely. Just like this. Put it back a little bit more. There we go. Toss that into a bag to be used somewhere else. Like that. And we just do the same thing for all of the rest of them. Great. Now that all of our fabric is cut, our fronts have been clearly marked, we got new fluff on all of our seats. Take your cover, lay it in place, flip it over, and then we want to mark our centers on our seats. 19 and a half, about there, so about 9 7/8 this way, 9 7/8 that way. Measure across the back, we got perfect 16, so we put a mark of 8. This fabric has very clear centers. The pattern itself has a clearly defined center on it, so we didn't need to notch our material and mark the centers. Just bring it around, pin it, pin it. All of these staples are going to be pulled out later. There we go. Bring it over. Look at our pattern. You want the same amount of this pattern here as you have here. If you do that, it's going to be centered across there, and because we're putting these on the centers this way, it's going to be centered there. There. Then bring up the sides and pin it. And the same over here. Now we can flip it up and see how we look. It's looking pretty good. We have the same distance on the pattern here as we do here. This and this are the same distance in. Want the same distance there. And we've got what the customer wanted centered right there in the middle. So at this point, we can start actually putting the seat together. So, my favorite method is hold the seat up, pull it over, pull out your support staple, staple it down, pull out the next one, push the fabric up, over, hold it in place. You always want to start in your center, work your way to the corners. As you get to the corner, the material thins out, so this is going to start angling down. It's going to start going from straight across to down like this. Like that, so smooth. Stop about there. You don't want to go to the end. The corners are the last things you do. Now we can come up to here, pull over. Thing is, you don't want to do this. You don't want to grab the material like this and pull on it like that. If you do, you're going to have these dents. You know, you're going to have these dents. It's going to look all warbly. You'll especially notice it if you're using a striped fabric. Instead, smooth the fabric over with your entire palm, and then just anchor the fabric where you want it to live forever. There you go. Get the front edge, flip it over, do the back edge. Again, just grab the fabric, just smooth, just like that. You push that extra fabric in front of your hand, like that. Use your fingers to hold it in place. You can do this with the fabric, with the seat lying like this, but to do that, you've got to pull on it. And it just comes out so much better if you push the fabric into place instead. Again. Same thing with the side, just smooth. Again, we don't want to do the corners yet. Stay away from the corners. This side. Get some ammunition. Lock and load. Now that this side is all done, this side is anchored in place. Now we can continue with this and do the corner. We don't have to stop, do this side, and then just do corners. Everything is anchored, so we can do these corners now. So, grab a nice handful of fabric. Pull it from far away. Don't grab up close. Pull from outside. Okay, get it like that. See how it pulls around and over. You're pulling this way, and you're pulling this way. We go right up the corner like that. Then take this material, pull it around like this. You want to pull the material around this corner. So you're going around over the top like this. The thing is, you're creating an area in here of tension, so when you pull down like this, it creates a nice even pleat right there. So to do that, you need to anchor the material that's going to be inside that fold. So pull it around over the top this way. Then come in here, make your pleat, pull your fabric over, smooth it. That's how you get that nice, neat corner. Okay, here we got a close-up of the corner, so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. You take the fabric, smooth it up over like this, going this way. So we're pulling that way and this way at the same time, like that. All right. I'm going to staple up. Like that. Pull it around. So we're making this little crease right here, this little dent right there. And then you can form your little pleat, go over the top, and smooth it in like this. And there we go. Nice, straight, smooth, and they're soft again. It's time to put black bottom on them. So, just like upholstering anything else, roll out your fabric, make sure your front edge is square. I need pieces that are 18 by 20 inches, so this stuff is exactly 36 inches wide. Here's the 18. Go up here, 18. Measure 20 inches up on this side. 20 inches up on this side. Like that. Cut these out and I'm ready to go. There. I'll do this until I get 6 more covers and then I'll be right back. Boom, ready. Take a piece of material, super simple. Just lay it on. I like to fold my edge under. Put a couple of staples in the middle on one side. A couple of staples in the middle on the other. Do the same thing to the 2 other sides. You trim this extra off if you want. Or you can just fold that mess right up underneath. It doesn't really matter. Fold it under. Centered. Same thing on the other side. Fold it under. And then just work your way into each corner. This is the simplest, easiest part of an upholstery job, but it's also great practice. learning to do this and making a bottom that is nice and smooth and wrinkle-free and neat uses the same skills that are required for making a chair smooth, wrinkle-free, and neat. And sometimes when you're putting cambric on the bottom of a chair that has legs or protrusions, you've got a cut to go around those protrusions. Learning to make those cuts directly applies to everything else that you do on a piece of furniture. So this is actually a nice little skill for somebody to learn when they're very first starting out. There you go. Now just do that for the rest of them. You'll be ready to bolt them back on. Now the cambric on, ready to go. Lay it like this on the tabletop. Take your chair, clamp it right on top like that. Move it a bit until it's perfectly centered on every side. Now, something I usually do with these that I didn't do with this one, with this set, is before you take the seats off the frames, put a number on the seat, number on the frame. 1, number 2. Number 1, number 1. The other one, number 2, number 2. This will make it much easier to line up the holes when you come back and you've got to put them on. I intentionally didn't do it this time because many of them, the screws had just fallen out. So I'm not going to put the same seat on the same cover in many cases. I'm going to swap them around so that the original screw holes don't line up. That way I can put the screws in original unbroken wood. And I won't have to worry so much about the screws just falling out. But if you did mark them, then the holes should line up. The best way to find them is with a regulator. You're going to use an ice pick too. Just go in the hole, dig around, right there. That's where the hole is. Don't move it. Get a screwdriver. I highly recommend that you do this with a hand screwdriver if you can. Obviously, if you have to do 100 of these, like you're doing a restaurant, that's not feasible. But especially with the older ones and the older wood, there you go. If it doesn't move, you're done. If you hand crank these too much, it's very easy to go just a tiny too much too tight, and then it strips out. And now you're in a pickle. Now you got to take the cover off, you got to take the cambric off, you got to get in there, you got to glue some toothpicks or something in the hole. You know, you can't always move these around and still make them look good. So just use a hand screwdriver if you can. Get it in there just tight enough. There we go. And you're all set. If you over tighten these, you're going to be unhappy. Now this one, there is no hole there to line up on, so I'm just going to put this in by hand until it's in there enough to hold the seat in place. Doesn't move. Now the chairs with the arms, you have to do a little differently because the arms will prevent you from just laying it on a tabletop like this and just driving these screws in. So it takes a little more effort. Good enough. And you got to be a little more careful with how you go about lining everything up. There we go. And here's the result. Nice, smooth and even. Well then, now that I've taken that seat off of the wrong frame, I can put it on the right frame, which is for one of these armchairs. You might have noticed in the last one that it's sort of overhanging the edges quite a bit there. So, hey, we're at Bob Ross. We make no mistakes. We only have happy accidents. So, let's install this seat on the armchair. The armchair, you can't just flip it over on its back, upside down. You have to put it on its back. You can't just flip it upside down because the arms get in the way. So, lay it on its back. Put the seat in place. Use your regulator. Find the hole. You can see there is the hole that I made by accident. There we go. I think that one's properly lined up. Yeah, it is. And here's a case of what I was talking about. This chair, the screw hole on this side is stripped out. It's not catching anything. So what I'll do is I'll swap this onto the other chair. There we go. If I swap this onto the other armchair, the holes probably won't line up at all. And I can take advantage of having fresh wood to screw into. That will, of course, make putting the seat on physically more difficult. I'm going to work harder. But that extra effort should be worth it. Let's see. There's a hole here. We'll see what happens. That's good. That one's good. Now, since the holes did line up perfectly on this, probably going to have to do something to that other chair to make it so that our screw will bite into the seat. And now that we already have a screw hole in there, it'll be easy to find where we need to work. There we go. Give it a push. It's holding. Again, these don't need to be super, super tight. They just need to be there strong enough to keep the seat from sliding around like this. Nobody picks up these chairs by grabbing the upholstered part of the seat and lifting the chair. So there is never any force on these seats pushing the seat up. So push, see how it moves? We got to keep going. Actually, if I push it away, You sometimes see it getting drawn in. There we go. And here you can see the finished product. Notice how it doesn't overhang the outside edges? Yeah, this is the way it's supposed to be. Now, here we're running into a problem. This is the other armchair, and this is the seat that I couldn't put on the previous one because one of the holes was stripped out. The problem we're having here is I cannot move the seat around to bite into brand new wood, and yeah, that's lined up there to strip out, and it's lined up here to strip out too. We've got two ways we could fix this. I can drill a new hole in the corner block here that would relocate your screw hole from here to here. Or I can try to repair the damage inside the hole that makes it so that the screw can't bite into it. First, we're going to try that solution. We're going to try to put this seat down, go into the hole, and do what's called a toothpick trick. Now, for the toothpick trick, what you're going to need is some sliver of wood. Usually you use toothpicks, but I'm going to use popsicle sticks because I got lots of them, and some good wood glue. The beauty of the trick, though, is that you don't really need the wood glue. The wood glue is just a little assurance. Once the screw goes in, it pushes the wood off to the side and creates a tremendous amount of pressure that holds it in place. But it's always good just to have a little assurance. I mean, glue is cheap and it costs almost no time to put a little dollop of glue on it. Now, all you need for the trick to work is a thin sliver of wood that you can get in there. Normally you use toothpicks because they just put them in there and you can break them off, you know. I'm going to use a popsicle stick because I said that's what I got. So let's make a sliver. We want something that's big enough to fit in the hole easily. There we go. That's perfect. So get a little glue on it. Like so. Put your popsicle stick in, break it off like that. Put one on the other side if you want. Get in there. And break it off like that. Now your screw is going to go right in through that wood. It's going to push those wooden pieces apart like a wedge. Jam them up against the sides. And then your screw is going to hold like just awesome. It's going to be great. Now here, you can see where the wood has been added inside the hole. And I have not let this dry. The glue is still wet right now. Once this is locked in place, the screw itself is going to support, provide all of the pressure needed to hold those pieces together. Now let's see how this works. Oh yeah, that's biting good. Nice. Yeah, that's good stuff. This side. Yep, that's good. Very good grip now. Nice. And there you go. That's your toothpick trick. And here we have our finished product. Nice and tight, beautiful new upholstery. Customer's gonna be chuffed. Well, I'll tell you, making this series of videos and hopefully future videos has been an amazing process. I've learned a lot just from this video alone on how to make a video like this, try to make it engaging for people. If anybody has any suggestions, just leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear from anything that anybody has to say. And hopefully this turns out to be the first in a long series of videos that I can make on the jobs that come into my shop. And you'll all be along with me for it. So here's hoping for a long future. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.